Hello, my name is Jonah Whitcamper, and I'm the director of Search USA, and I'm here to talk about Students for Common Ground. Why Students for Common Ground? In order for me to be able to respond to that question in the best way, it's best if I tell you a little bit about what happened to me when I was 15 years old. I participated in this youth leadership program. It exposed me to religions and people from other countries that I'd never heard of before. It was an extraordinary experience. It was a very challenging experience. It helped me see the other people from groups which I never met before, which I did not understand, not as a source of threat, but as a source of inspiration. This transformed the way that I deal with conflict. Suddenly, everyone in the world was a potential partner for me in the greater cause of making the world a better place. So that's where I come from. Who here got involved when they were young? Raise your hand. Got involved in some cause. Look around. A lot of people get involved when they're young. The United Nations Secretary General once said, "You can measure the future success of a country not by its markets, but by the prospect of its young people today." I believe this. Young people are the world's greatest untapped resource. They've been at the center of every social movement in the history of this country. Look at the Civil Rights Movement. They've been at the center of every social movement in almost every country in the world. Look at what's happened in the former Soviet socialist republics. Young people believe in democracy. They believe in taking part in the decision-making processes that shape their lives. We have a great challenge in this country. We have a systemic obstacle to political collaboration. We have a two-party political system, and this aggravates this theory of the zero-sum political game. It's us versus them. If the right loses, the left loses. If the right wins, the left loses. If the left wins, the right loses. It doesn't have to be that way. People might want the political right, they might want the political left, but everybody wants the political up. And that's what this is about. Look what happened last year. Millions of young people came out to participate in the political process, using technology in a decentralized way, a way that technology had never been used before. And it changed the story. It sent a message to the world. Young people have a part to play. But that movement is kind of sputtering. That great wave of hope that circled the world is kind of sputtering. It can't be led by a government. It needs to be led by the people. This is a movement to transform the traditional democratic process away from the struggle for power and towards a celebration of diversity. What organization can do this? Who has this kind of expertise? Who has the experience? Search for Common Ground is the only group I know that can be a real container for a movement of this kind. Let's look under the hood. How will this movement work? We're going to take activities on campuses in one of three ways. One, it's about the development of the individual. How do we deal with conflict in our own personal lives? Two, the issues. We can take traditional conversations around divisive issues like abortion and transform them into experiences of collaborative problem solving. What can pro-life and pro-choice groups do together to prevent unwanted pregnancies? The third kind of action is about the community. What can we do to systematically create a more collaborative campus? What can we do to improve the relationships between students on campus and their neighboring communities? How many universities in this country happen to be the wealthiest institutions in their regions, yet right next door they're surrounded by the poorest neighborhoods in the region? We can improve the collaboration, the relationships between these communities and the universities through student activity. Finally, how do we measure this thing? We're working on this idea called the Healthy Collaboration Index. What are the indicators of a culture of collaboration on campus? Is there a local interfaith student movement? Does the local campus newspaper have a column that is jointly written by a young progressive and a young conservative? There are many other indicators, and using them, we could create some sort of national ranking to answer the question, what is the most collaborative campus here in the United States? That's a compelling idea, one compelling enough to help this idea and this movement grow. There are other questions as well. Why is this unique? Massing